And we are now back for another HNLT show with the hockey coach, your coach Francis, directly for the beautiful country of Thailand. And we have to go all the way on the Maritime in Canada to find our best friend from THW, BLAIN POTVIN, for the second time in the house. Welcome with us tonight.
Well, thanks for having me, Frenchie. I appreciate you inviting me back again.
Yeah, glad to having you. I think, like we said earlier, 2021, I think it was the first time you was with us. We miss you, first of all. We hopefully it will not take another 2 years before we bring you back in the show for sure. And a big fan of you. To follow you on your website when you're writing for the THW, and you're great. You have always been a great asset for talking about the Montreal Canadiens and on the Twitter. Honestly, that's why we follow you. And then you can see above his head is account Twitter, so you can reach him at any time. And I'll be honest with you, have people like him, Marco D'Amico, and those people are writer on the internet, but they are really accessible to answer to all your questions you have. So glad to have a couple of minutes for us for tonight, for about 60 minutes, to talking about maybe your best favorite team, the Montreal Canadiens. But before we start, we want to say prayer and thought for the people got happening at the daycare de Laval tonight or during the day. So I want to take a couple of seconds to mention this for everybody. So unfortunately, that's the world we are right now, and it's not good when you have kids involved with those kind of incidents. So I just want to stop by to say that to everyone here in the chat. So BLAIN, look, we're going to talk about Montreal Canadiens. We have a couple of questions from the chat. It's going to happening at the end of the show, about 15 minutes before prior to the end of the show. Then we have a couple of things to talk about. Of course, Montreal Canadiens. Since we saw the last time we saw each other, there was a winner of the championship all the way to the final, lost at the final against Tampa Bay Lightning. And since that, they are on the rebuilding season right now for the upcoming season for next couple of years with new management, new coach. So just give you an idea, the last time we saw, it was a long time, honestly. And then I would like to know a little bit more about yourself. Like maybe some people are new in the chat and they don't really know who you are. And first of all, we want to thanks for your service you bring out of Canada, by the way. So give us a little bit more your background.
Well, my background professionally, I'm a professional sailor in the Canadian Armed Forces. I've been in the Armed Forces now for 30 years as of this month, and I feel really old.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie.
I've been there already.
Yeah. But hockey-wise, I've been covering the Canadiens now for about 8 years, and I've branched out a little bit into international hockey, and I've been covering prospects as well for the hockey writers, recruits, and now Crier Media.
That's awesome. How did you find a way to write? Like, is this like a passion you did at your early age about writing, everything? And then how did you get in connection with like a THW? I think it's 7-8 years now you are with this company, right?
3 years with hockey writers. I was with another group beforehand. Growing up, I really hated writing. I didn't like school. I preferred blowing things up, which is probably why I became a weapons engineer. But over the years, I've learned how to enjoy education, and I got into writing again. And I was scouting for hockey and ran into a group that had their own blog, and I started plugging away there, and people noticed, and eventually I got offers for paid gigs like the ones I'm doing now.
That's awesome. By the way, you got your favorite team, honestly, to write about, so that would be a great way for you. If I can remember, I could be wrong here. I believe you are born in Quebec.
Yes, I was born in Montreal, but I was raised in Ontario.
Okay.
So I grew up in Sudbury.
Sudbury.
Yeah. So to hell with the Leafs.
Yeah.
Because I grew up on the French side.
That's funny to see that about that. First of all, we want to welcome everybody in the chat. Like usual, we welcome one by one, guys. But tonight, because we are blind, we want to take advantage of his knowledge about the Montreal Canadiens. So we want to thank everybody to be with us tonight. First of all, Mr. Blind, A little bit review the season, where they are, the Montreal Canadiens right now, February 8th. And what do you think so far since the beginning of the season under Martin Saint-Louis, his first full year as a head coach?
I think St. Louis has been doing a pretty good job so far this season. His goal is not to clearly not to win games because let's be honest, he wasn't really given much to help him in that vein. However, he he's been focused very heavily on building the confidence and developing the young players. I mean, you just look at how Kirby Dach has come along over the season, and you can see the impact that St. Louis has had on that roster. It's a team that, despite all the injuries, despite the fact that this is really a bottom five team, every single game, every night, for the most part, they're in the game, they're competitive, they're entertaining. They just need to put few pieces together to give St. Louis a little bit more to work with, really.
Yeah, absolutely right about this. He has so many things to carry on everything. First of all, he's one who had no experience like the rookie they have, and if I don't know, maybe you can have a better memories like mine, but which team in the past have about 3, 4, 5 rookie as a defenseman? I cannot remember those. Any team, it's happening in any time in NHL, at least for the last 30, 35 years, I believe.
I'm sure it's happened in the past. I can't, for the life of me, I can't think of it happened. I know the Canadians haven't had this many rookies on their roster since the 84-85 season, and we all know what happened right after that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely right about this. Since the beginning season, like let's go a little bit more as a team together. One that at the beginning, like you do, like me and every other people, where we start before the season start, you have a little bit an idea what they maybe the prediction. You see them at the end of the season. They're going to maybe finish like 22nd, 23rd, or maybe play the playoff. What it was you at the beginning of the season? What do you see that the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, before the season started, I had them pegged to finish between 5th and 10th in the draft. So they'd be, 5th last or 10th last. They're in that. I expected them to be. I didn't expect them to have the start they had of that season. They were at about 500 until about December, which was well beyond anything that I expected. But they've come crashing down to earth and back to normal. So they're pretty much in the window that I think I've expected, and most people have. Let's be honest. I don't think anyone's looked at this roster and said there's a playoff team. But as much as I want them to win games, I'm really hoping they lose too, because I've met Connor Bedard. I've spoken to that young man. I've watched him play on video and in person, and this kid is something else. And whoever gets him is going to get a special player. And it would be really nice to see the Canadians get him.
Yeah, absolutely about this. You talk about Edmonton, McDavid. I think you can talk with Ovechkin or maybe like Crosby, those kind of players, make a change the franchise for a period of 10 to 15, maybe 20 years. And that's what Bedard can do. Like no one of that draft could be like Bedard can do for any other team in the NHL. So you're absolutely about this. It's like, I don't know, you feel the same way, but you want them to win every game. But when they lose, I feel like, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're getting there, right there, right there. I predicted at the beginning, BLAIN, 29. That was my targeting. That was 29. I always believed there to be 29. And again, they last year after the before they came back from the playoff with the Tampa Bay, you can many injuries, the Price, the Weber, the Gallagher, and again go away. And it keep continuous again this season with many players. The Gallagher now it's more like Madison, Edmondson, and you have 12, 13 players on the, and that's not helping them for sure. And that's give them a better way to make have a better choice for the NHL draft. Of course, we won't talk about the draft for the next couple of minutes, and definitely give us maybe more what you're looking for the Montreal. Other effect is going to be out of the better. But I want to ask you this question about this. The trade deadline is coming. We have a couple of people in the chat ask a couple of questions about this. So we'll definitely answer to your question, everybody, and both at the end of the show. What are you looking for the Montreal Canadiens for the next couple of weeks? Or a lot of trade, not many trade? Is it the injuries make maybe Ken Hughes to be on the hold? What you see, what you heard, what your impression about the trade deadline for the Montreal Canadiens under Ken Hughes?
Well, Hughes is someone that likes to stick to his guns. He sets a price, he wants to meet it. If he doesn't get it, I don't think he'll make the deal. Now, what I've been hearing is more about Edmondson and Monahan more than anyone else. I know Anderson's name's been out there, and unless someone really blows Hughes's mind with a deal, I don't see it happening. Not to mention the $5.5 million, which it's a good contract overall for someone who's on pace for 25 goals like he is this year. But to move that kind of money in season is almost impossible. So for the Canadiens, I can see Edmondson and Monahan being the major pieces to move. I've been hearing a lot about Edmondson lately. I talked to Marco D'Amico today, actually, on my podcast, and we discussed even Bruins. Sorry, I had to spit that word out. Even the Bruins were somewhat interested. So seeing the names that are available out there, knowing that the prices are extremely high, I don't think it'll be hard for Hughes to meet the requirement that he has, which is a first-round pick. He's even willing to take cash back, take bad contracts back, hold on to some of the cap, and he can be a player as an intermediary in any deal. He can take on other players' caps, as he has around $5 to $6 million in the long-term injury reserve to play with. So he can take on some money, take a pick or a prospect in return, and kind of play the in-between game. So I do expect the Canadiens to be quite busy through the deadline, but we may have to wait until right up to the end, like he did with the Lehkonen deal.
Yeah, possible about this. Let's move on with Monahan now. It's funny because I make a video and I'm going to give you my choice of what I see the trade bait for both team, both players. But if you talk with Marco about Monahan, what kind of where destination are you looking for Monahan?
Well, with Marco, we didn't really talk about destinations. We were more concerned with his health and the return. Now, there's not any concrete word yet about his return. However, if he is going to be healthy in time for the playoffs, teams are still going to go for him. The return on him, I don't know. Depending on how healthy he is right now, maybe they can get a second-round pick, maybe a first if they hold some money, take a contract back. But teams like Colorado, for instance, everyone's talking about them because they do need a second-line center. Monahan fits that. Vegas has money to play with now. They could take him on. They're looking for centers. Carolina's looking more for someone under contract for several years. But once the St. Louis Blues decide what they're going to do with Brian O'Reilly, whether they're going to keep him, sign him, trade him, once that's dealt with, then Monahan becomes the major piece in the NHL to be worked with. And that's when Hughes is going to be able to push the price. He's already gotten a first-round pick just for taking him on. So if he's able to get another first-round pick for getting rid of him, home run. It's a home run.
That was my following question. So you read my mind about the health. I need both of you know Marco is connect very well too, like you are. Any words about the injuries, where they at, or any update about Edmondson and Monahan? We know they're quiet over there. They are not coming back until the Thursday. But any update you have about their injury? We know Monahan. At some point, I read about the fact it may be a groin happening to him. By the way.
Well, according to Marco, who was in the room with him, I think it was last week, he said he was wearing a boot. So it looks like it's something to do with that foot that he had injured earlier in the year. And with Edmondson, he was walking around just fine. So the expectation with Edmondson is more short term, day to day,
Okay.
whereas Monahan might take a couple of weeks. Now, that's something they said a couple of weeks ago, but until they give us more news, we're not going to know for sure.
I see. Um, I put money in with the Boston Bruins. I trade them for the
Yeah.
first round pick and return Greg Smith as a bad contract. And that would satisfy the Boston to get Sean Monahan. And then because they don't know Krejci and Bergeron are coming back or not, they have that kind of security in case if they are leaving, they have money in to resign, everything like that. Boston love to set extension at lower price, and I think the fit to get money under or $5 million under could fit the money of the Boston Bruins like they did with Langholm last year at 6.25. I think they got. So for me, he's going there. A lot of people, yeah, but he don't have that kind of culture, or not culture, but the aggressivity like Boston. I don't think so. I don't see that. I think it's not a big difference for me. I think you can talk about Pavel Zacha example. They got him for the New Jersey. They like big guy. They like a 6'3", 6'4". I think Monahan could fit with the Boston Bruins. I sent in Munson. He said Boston was my second pick, but I went with the Pittsburgh Penguins for Edmondson. And I think because they need help on the left D, they don't have anybody there other than fact Pedersen, Dumoulin. And Dumoulin have a really difficult year, and they don't have anybody else. I think Edmondson can stabilize, and they have enough money next season to carry on the $3.5 million of Edmondson. So I think Edmondson could be a good fit for the Pittsburgh Penguins. If we talk about Edmonton, everything. But I think, you try to get a bit more deeper about those kind of the prediction. You're absolutely right. I think the other two players they could have a good something in return for the trade deadline. Any other players you thinking now? Like people talk about that enough, and they talk about the one they are two UFA. I understand. But now maybe, do you think a player like a 1 year more contract like Edmondson, we talk about Hoffman, Armia, do you think they could be moved as during the trade deadline, or Jake Allen, or are they going to be a little bit more waiting on the off season, like during the draft or something like that, to moving those kind of pieces for the Montreal?
Well, I think Edmondson is probably the only one with term that could really move at the deadline. Anyone else, like Armia's contract, may not seem like a lot of 3.4 million for what he brings. It's kind of overpriced. There's some work to be done there to massage a deal in. I haven't heard very much at all about Dadonov or Drouin. Uh, I wouldn't be surprised to see either one move though, but more so near the end of the deadline, and for very very little. If someone's
Yeah.
willing to take them on, it's more of a Hughes takes a 50% of the cap hit and he gets a third round pick for say Drouin, or maybe a fifth for Dadonov. But it's not going to be anything special or exciting. It's just money off the cap and a space in the roster for one of the younger guys to come up like Yellowman and to stay with the team full time, or an opening for a contract to sign Sean Farrell, for instance.
Yeah, that's something we'll talk a little bit later about Sean Farrell, the prospect for the Montreal Canadiens for sure. That's a bit about the trade deadline. We're not going to see what's happening for sure. I think Drouin could be a low cost, like a fifth round pick example. He could be 4, 5, 6, whatever. He could add some kind of offensive for a team, or maybe not at the top, but maybe a bubble team. The New York Islanders, for example. And not so they have to go there, but a team like they are not in all the way, but maybe can helping them to reach the wild card situation. Does it make sense? Like maybe Pittsburgh could be another destination for the rest of the season, and they only spend a 4th or 5th round pick for the way.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh would be a good call for that, because they're looking for some depth at a cheap price. They don't have a lot in the way of a prospect pool or picks. So if they can get someone like Drouin, super cheap, and they can plug it in on a third line, awesome. Uh, the Islanders would be a great spot as well. He's got the skill to set up players like Bo Horvat and
Yeah,
others. I mean, playing on the wing as a playmaker, he can do on the power play. I mean, the Islanders' power play is absolute hot trash. It's much better than the Canadiens, but
yeah,
it's still
absolutely.
pretty bad, and he could help. Now, the side benefit for the Canadiens is not just maybe getting a late round pick and saving some cap space to sign other players, but he could improve one of those Metro teams that could maybe push Florida out of the playoff picture, improving that pick for the Canadiens as well.
You're absolutely about this. I think it's something I did not think about the back door, about the fact they helping the Florida Panthers to go lower for the pick for sure. I'm just thinking, and my mind is always working. It's always like, okay, we talk about Edmonton, Pittsburgh. Now we had Drouin over there. We can maybe get Kapanen in return because they want to get more money for next season, and then we can get a 4-round pick, maybe a first-round pick or a second-round pick. I think they don't have the second-round pick, maybe a deal like that. So pretty neat. You open up the door about this one over there. And for people just join us, we welcome you guys. This is the BLAIN POTVIN for the THW writer for the Montreal Canadiens for over 7-8 years with that channel, the website at THW. And then for people on the chat, ask a question. Don't worry, we're going to answer to you guys. I'm going to flew them at the end of the show, so don't be worried about this. So we're going to give you those answers from BLAIN. Of course, he knows a lot about the Montreal Canadiens. So we're going to go on the surprise, on the disappointment of the Montreal Canadiens, maybe like a couple of minutes about Sunday beginning season. What maybe surprised the most for the Montreal Canadiens? Maybe you can go with 2-3 players and then talk about a specific players.
Well, for best surprise, I would say it's the rookie defenseman and how well they've played. I know Goulie's out with an injury right now, but he has played above the expectations. Arbor Jacki, I don't think any Montreal Canadiens fan has anything bad to say about Jacki. This kid has been something else to watch. Not only is he he's kind of a hybrid. He's a throwback to the old 80s style defenseman, really physical, he can fight, but he's got that new wave defense style. He's got skill, he can score. I think he's either in the lead or tied for the lead for the most goals for a rookie defenseman in the NHL. He's got the skill level that really cements everything there. Harris, he's quietly put together a really good, solid season. He's nothing flashy, but he's very, very effective. And then you got Kovacevic, who they picked up on waivers, who's really helping that bottom pair on the third on the right-hand side. Barron had a tough start to the year, and I know Justin's usually had a hard time ramping himself up prior to the season, but since that rocky start, he earned himself an AHL All-Star nomination, and it looks like he's positioned himself really well to remain with the Canadiens past this deadline for the entire season. He might even be able to play. They'll do a paper transaction so you can play in the playoffs with Laval, but I think he's going to finish the season with the Canadiens. So for me, the really good surprise is seeing 5 solid rookie defensemen that the Canadiens can actually build something around. They still need that big number 1 D-man, but these are guys that they can really put something together with.
Yeah, I just want to helping you about Jacki is with Luke Viss for the Dallas Star. Both of them are 5 goals. So I just want to you're absolutely right. They are a rookie about this. The New York Rangers take the lead, guys, 2-0 against the Vancouver Canucks with 11:29 to go remaining on the first period. So I want to give you Shittil, 21 first overall pick for New York Rangers. Score is 19 goals this season. Is on fire. The reason I'm talking about Shidil is because I want to bring to you patient. Maybe is the key. Is the guy now is 21, 22 years old. If I can, my memory is great. And it took him about a few years to become who he is right now. And what kind of player you think a Montreal could do the same path like him where it's not automatically you show up at the NHL, you're going to have success at the beginning, and then you find a way to reach that level. Some is later. Tage Thompson, example. Troy Terry, two players pick up this the last 2 years. Everything like that. Dylan Cousin did now this season. Jack Hughes take him 3 years to reach where he is right now. We talk about Montreal right now. What do you think about the players could have? We need to be a little bit more patient about their development.
Yeah, no, patience is the key. The development team that Hughes is starting to put together now with Adam Nicholas, it's much, much better than the Canadians had in past, which was essentially not much. They had two or three guys who would go around and talk to players. Didn't have they didn't take a scientific approach to it. They just, you know, they'd watch him play a couple of minutes, and they'd say, "Hey, check out this guy, check out this move, check out that move, do this, do that." Whereas with Nicholas and his crew, they break them down with video, they break them down with statistics, they use physics and science, and then they go from there, and then they adjust their game in little pieces, in little increments. And it's not just the NHL players; they're doing that with everybody. Every player I've spoken to in the Canadian system, to a man, have been extremely, extremely pleased with the approach that the Canadians have made. They're personalizing the development for each player, which honestly that you kind of have to do because not every player is the same. Some of their strengths and their weaknesses are all different. So Philip Machar, for instance, he was asked to work on being a little bit more aggressive, and he's been working on that. Beck, he was asked to work on his skating, and he's been working on that. It's these little things that they do that will make these players that much better once they finally break into the NHL. Fans need
Yeah,
to realize that just because they make it, that doesn't mean they're going to be putting up 20 goals, 50 goals, 100-point seasons right away. It's going to take a little bit of time to adjust to that speed and that pace.
where do you see Kirby Dak in the next 3 years? I know it's a little bit, I don't want to put you on the hot seat right now, but for what you saw this year, you know, like me, you say him at Team Canada, you saw him play in the WHL, and, you know, was drafted third overall pick by Chicago Blackhawks. Now he find a way to become his best season with the Montreal Canadiens. I think he have 10, 11 goals right now, over 30 points. Do you have like a, and he did not reach the ceiling. Like you know, Martin, we talk about the ceiling, right? he still have more. What do you see could be that in the next 3 years when he's going to be 24 or 25 years old as a hockey player for the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, he's still pretty young. He just turned 22, and I it's been a while since I was 22, but I still remember that I wasn't quite as strong as I could be. I wasn't all the way filled out yet. I was still a little bit lanky, and that's the same thing with Kerbach. He's still got some room to grow into his frame, but it's mostly mental with him. It's when you saw him play in Chicago, he had a hard time adjusting to playing with different lines and different players in different positions, but it just didn't seem to be there. Now he gets to Montreal and he's being he's being coached up by St. Louis, and St. Louis is building his confidence up. You know, he's giving him attaboys, but at the same time, he's providing him constructive criticism on specific aspects of his game. And we've seen him become much more physical. And that's when he started to really explode, when he was more willing to engage physically on the forecheck. He was more willing to battle a little bit harder along the boards. And we saw in that fight that he just had just recently, he's getting tired of people messing with him. So if he can create space for himself on the ice by showing that he has that side to him, that's 4-2-10, people are going to pay attention, and people are going to give him that extra space, that split second timing that'll give that opening that he needs to maybe get that shot off or make that pass.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think every time the way you talking about, the one word came in my mind is the word confidence. And when you have that kind of confidence, you believe in yourself, you trust yourself, and you don't have to be worried to play with a all-star player like Patrick Kane or Jonathan Taylor. So you left or Kane, you right, and you try to, you know, the little kid, 21 years old, shy and everything like that. You now it's about yourself, and you can see. And I think other words he said, open space. When he get that kind of space, and for me, he's maybe for the last 10 years, maybe Kovalev possible, but he's maybe the best player for Montreal on the transition between the two blue lines. He have nobody close right now for the Montreal have a better way to carry on the puck and to be so good on the transition. And that's for me, it's really good to see Kirby Dak. He's talking about the young guest players in NHL. Talk about Doc. We talk Jack Hughes a bit. We talk about Shedel with New York Rangers, Lafreniere, Capo, Byfield. It's on with the Kings. But Montreal Canadiens just dropped a kid, Uri Sakoski, unfortunately, missed the 41 was 40 couple of 40 43 goal a game, and NHL cannot return this season. But what do you feel right now about his development? I know I don't want to put you on the hot seat. I have a couple of questions people in the chat ask her about Sakoski. What do you think about his development? It would be better to be on the American Hockey League, OHL, or what do you feel about Montreal did with him so far? And first of all, who did you remember last season? Overall, it was him or Shane Wright. I was just curious to know about this. What it was your selection?
I fully expected the Canadians to have picked Shane Wright. They needed centerman. They needed a little bit of an offensive push, and I felt that Shane Wright was that guy at the top of the draft. And then I started watching other videos. Afterwards, they picked Slavkovsky. I wasn't too heartbroken. If they would have gone with Cooley, I would have been happy with that as well. I mean, those three guys at the top of that draft class, which I'm going to be honest, no one's going to be setting the world on fire out of that draft class, but there are some solid complementary pieces out of that year that we're going to see, and I think Slavkovsky is going to be that one of them. He's got the beginnings of the next wave of power forward. He's huge. He's got great hands. He can move. Once he figures out the hand brain side of it, I think he's going to be really impressive. As for what they did with him this season, I fully expected him to make the team. I didn't think he'd stay that long. I kind of thought they'd push him to the AHL, but watching him slowly take on more minutes, more of a role, he was given incremental changes, and he moved up and down, up and down. I can see what they were doing, and they were trying to get used to the pace of the NHL, and that's not something you can do when you're playing in the AHL. Um, all the talk is sending him to the World Juniors. I don't think that would have helped him at all. I'm going to be honest. It would have been a nice little cookie, but development-wise, I don't think it would have done much for him. He's shown that he's dominating everything outside of the NHL. He needs more time to get used to the NHL. Hopefully, when he comes back healthy, he'll be able to play in the World Championships, which that's as close as he's going to get to any playoff games or any more hockey this season. So that's my hope, that he comes back, goes to World Championships. He'll play a top line role there for Slovakia. If he does well, I think that'll help him with confidence going into the camp next year.
I cannot say more. I agree with you. He absolutely nailed it right away. I always been believe he should be in the NHL, and I think Montreal take time to build his confidence, and I think to be around Adam Nicolas, Scott Pellerin, and the people, the staff, the player. I remember my friend was a coach with the Toronto Maple Leafs at the time with the Connor Brown and Mitch Marner, Matthews pop up at the same years, like the first 2 years, and then Mike Backer was coach for there. Steve was always telling me it's not about who they are right now. What they need to learn is to become to learn to become a professional hockey player in NHL. And it's not the talent skill is not good enough. You need to know your work ethic and what it takes to stay in NHL, how you can survive in NHL. And I think that's the way I think they did very well with him about this one. And it's sad because the last 10 games of the season, whatever, he didn't have no points on December 1st. He have a slump like everybody else until Christmas, I would say to you. And January, at the beginning, he have a better games. He gets see a little bit believe in himself again, and then he have more minutes, and they use him a little bit more properly with a little bit better players. Not said Pesada or Evans is not good, but I think he can see a difference on the play on the Sarkowski to learn a little bit more about the open space, what do you have to do without the puck. So you have really great analysis. You talk about Sarkowski for sure. I want to have two more subjects before we go to people in the chat. And then the people in the chat, don't worry, we're going to answer your question. I know some of you are anxious about this. I just want to get in about this. From now to the trade deadline, we talk about this. What do you think now for the rest of the season? What are you looking for, example, as a, not like a hockey fans, because hockey fans can only follow the team and that's it, but more like the rider and the one more about the Montreal Canadiens, they may be more deeper. And you, Marco, and we're looking for the data analytics. We go more search. We see player how they develop. But what maybe 2 or 3 highlights or point or dots you're looking for the Montreal Canadiens until the end of the season?
Well, between now and the end of the season, I don't think the game-to-game outcomes is really what they're going to be looking for. It's not something I would want to see either. Whether they win a game or lose a game, I'm indifferent to it this year. What I want to see is improvements within individual players, especially the young guys, especially the ones that they consider core players. So Kirby Dach, I believe, is someone they think of as a core player. I want to see how they can improve his face-offs to help him become a better centerman, because really that's the only weakness at this moment for him in his game as a center. How are they going to provide a little bit of support to Suzuki, and how does he handle being a captain the rest of the way? He needs to learn this to really grow as a player, because next year it's going to be a new year. He's going to have Caulfield will be back. He'll probably have a couple extra players. I mean, if the Canadiens are picking top 5, whoever they pick in that top 5 is probably going to be in the lineup to start the year anyway. And how does St. Louis adjust his defensive style in his coaching? How does he help them build a better system? I know he talks about concepts, but defense is something that's taught, and the concept of offense, he's got that down. You can tell that the guys have really captured that spirit of the small area games, but defense is still a system. And how does he build that system up, especially coming into next year when the team is going to have some expectations on them?
I like your point of view about Martin St. Louis. I think Doc is another one over there. I think remember last year, I know you remember this, but when he came and used, and then you talk about Martin St. Louis, when they said at some point, now from day now until the end, they said, we're going to put everybody on the evaluation and to see who can stay with the team or what they can do. I think that's what I think they're going to do again in the next couple of weeks after the trade deadline. So, okay, we have 6 weeks to evaluate who we can keep. Like, I don't know if Giselle and then come back and with the Montreal Canadiens example. I think that's a player maybe he can look about him. RHP is another one they can look about him. What kind of player can stay with next season? What happened with Pesada? That's another one. Can we trade Jake Haven? That's all those players. Then the development of Justin Barron for me is really important in my eyes. Why? Because he's right defenseman. We don't have a lot of right defensemen. We can know about Jekai and Harris and Cooley, but I think Justin Barron play very important. Then I will add Samuel Montembeault. That's another one I think I'm looking for the rest of the season about this. We have a lot of questions in the chat, but I want to finish my last point view for you. And the NHL Draft 2023, Montreal right now could select between, 5, 6, 7 at this moment. Now the NHL lottery can change everything, and we know if they win, it's better. We have nothing else. I will go a little bit more. If they select the top four, we talk about Fantilli, Carson, and Mitch Cobb. My first question, do you have any other players right now on the top four I just mentioned to you? And then my second question come with this is, if you have a choice to pick, do you select Mitch Cobb or not versus Fantilli Carson? Or if you are number four, do you pass on Mitch Cobb? That's maybe three questions.
Well, when it comes to Mitch Cobb, I would. There's too many questions at this point. His skill level, I know that everyone's talking about him being this elite player, skill-wise, but I haven't seen any progression in his game over this year over last year. It's very rare that I've seen him play live. He didn't have a World Juniors because they weren't there. So with him, I don't see him being someone that's going to get picked in the top five. I see him sliding. If the Canadiens were picking somewhere in the, say, 4 or 5 range, man, I would love to have Fantilli. But if they can get someone like a Will Smith or Dvorsky, I think the Canadiens are going to be very well set, especially up the middle. Smith is very, very skilled. He skates extremely well. He's got great hands, great vision. He's got some work to do on his desire to forecheck. There's just little things. Like, he's still young. He's still only 17. So these are things that can be built upon. Dvorsky, he's a more complete player in my view. Not as rounded offensively, but his defensive game is already set. He's already at a pro level. His offensive game is still very good, and I think he would become an excellent second-line center if they need that. Now, that could mean that they move Doc over to the wing and Dvorsky moves up. There's still Beck in this system. I'm not a fan of picking for position. I'm more of a best player available, and I think 2 around 4 or 5 are going to be the best players available.
Okay. So you answer maybe what I was looking for, but if the Montreal select 5, 6, 7, and the 4 player we mentioned, the Mitch Cobb, everybody is out after that. You talk about Will Smith. You talk about Dvorsky. Do you have any other players? Or which one you would select if you have all the players we mentioned right now, other the fact the 4 are out of the leaderboard, are available on your eyes right there? Who do you select if you was Montreal Canadiens, whatever they are, 5, 6, or 7?
5, 6, 7. Yeah, there's Colby Barlow has been extremely fun to watch. He's very flashy. He's a little undersized. The same with Zach Benson with the Winnipeg Ice. Now, Benson's interesting. He's a 5-foot winger. I know the Canadiens have a lot of guys that are that size, and everyone's clamoring for more size. But this is a kid who, on a team filled with already drafted players, overagers, at 17, he is the best player on that team. He's the one stirring the drink when it comes off to offense. So he would really intrigue me at that point. Everything depends on who's available on that board at that point. But those are 2 more names that I would really look at, especially in this 6 to 7 range.
I believe Benson would be like a bit like Matthew Savoie. I think he would drop 8, 9, 10 on my. That's my feeling about him. About this, the player like Will Smith. I think one player picking up my interest for the last 6 weeks is Oliver Moore for the play with Will Smith. Or I think more compete, like you said. When you talk about forechecking about Smith, it's maybe that's what's missing. I think as for me, Smith looked like Logan Cooley 2.0 with a little bit less skill compared to Cooley, but very close to Logan Cooley. But for me, Oliver Moore is getting impressive more and more. Now you have debate. BLAIN, you follow everyone. You can follow Prontman. You can follow Marco with his pick. You can follow Bob McKenzie, Greg Bodden, the elite prospect. I mean, many people make their expertise about scouting. Some are really good on those, and then nothing wrong. Someone can put 6 and 9 and 15 and who they are. The other name is pick it up now. We have 3 defensemen, but I would say to you 2 of them, Senden Pelika and Dave Renbacher. I could screw his last name, I apologize. Born in Australia, Austria, I believe, Australia, but play in Switzerland League. What do you feel about him? If Montreal selects 5, 6, 7, 8, do you think they will let, because some people start to think about Jiricek with Rainbatcher. So I don't know. Maybe I put you a name you maybe not too much familiar. I apologize if it's okay. I don't want to put you on the bad seat here. But what do you feel about them?
Well, I've watched them both play extensively. I watched them in person for the entire World Juniors. Both of them impressed me in different ways, but not enough to pick them with Montreal's first pick. Now, if Florida's pick is somewhere between 12 and 15, and they're both on the board, I would lean towards picking Reinbacher. I think he would be the one that I would really like to pick out of those two because he's got the size. He's very, very mobile. He's got an excellent shot, good transitional player, and anyone who watched him play in the World Juniors, he still had he had a good tournament, but he was missing something, and I know what he was missing. He was sick the entire time. He was hooked up to an IV, getting fluids before and after every game. He was barely able to stand up after games. He was that weak. So fighting through that kind of illness and still being able to play at that level shows me that he's got the determination and the focus and work ethic that you're going to need to be a really successful professional athlete. So I would lean towards him. And his game fits with the Canadiens perfectly.
Great answer. And by the way, we have an amazing, great month of January this year. I think it was the rookie of the month, if I can recall it, about him for sure. That's something, I really like him a lot, more and more. Like Jiricek, I like him a lot. Sometimes I'm thinking, the time we tell us is Sakoski versus Jiricek or Nemec, but Jiricek is looking better. 6'2", can become a 6'3". I don't know. Do you feel, and I could be off here, but because you follow him a lot, you just mentioned, do you feel like he's played a little bit like Kadri Miller for the New York Rangers? Top 4.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of that. Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
I
he's
compare
got that
him a lot
mobility. He's
one
got
right
that.
now. Like he's
Yeah.
bubbled between a second and a third. Like he's not to be a quarterback like Adam Fox, example, Kadri Miller, but he brings that kind of players. He can beat Renbacher.
Yeah, he can bring a little bit of a physical aspect. He can bring a little bit of that mobility, that transitional play. He's got a little bit of everything, and he can definitely be one of those guys that you can put on a top pair with an actual number one and complement him perfectly. So that's a guy who can eat up a ton of minutes, and you can't go wrong with players like that.
That's
So
great.
if he ends up like Miller,
Yeah.
it'd be good.
I really like it. I hope we can do it again. Maybe maybe a couple of weeks before the draft, talk more about those NHL draft for sure. Yeah, people pop up here. What do you think about Edouard Sally, right winger? We need a right winger. So Sally, we know he's a good hockey player. Is what inconsistency, I believe, for the team at the World Junior Championship, but he's a big winger. I think 6'2", 6'3".
He's about 6'1", almost 6'2". He's slated as about 190 pounds, but he looks bigger than that, and he could be a lot more than what he has been so far. It's the consistency, like you mentioned. Um, he's got all the tools, but he's really young. He was a 17-year-old playing on that Chechen team that's filled with 19-year-olds, and he gave the puck up to them a little too much. He respected them a little too much. This is a guy who has an excellent shot, and instead of taking those shots, he was deferring to the veterans, and that's something that'll go away after a little bit of time. But I think Saleh will probably be available around the 15th pick, and as a forward, I think he could be an excellent top six player. Might be a first line winger with right development, but again, he needs to really work on his defensive game and his physical implementation in the game. You know, the forechecking, the willingness to compete along the boards. These are things that he's going to have to work on before he can really truly be a first line player.
Yeah, absolutely. I like your compare because I think we don't mention enough, Blain, about the fact like that people like get draft that season this summer and they play World Junior Championship or younger, and sometimes we don't think about their age. We feel like this, right? And remember, guys, Connor Bedard, Shane Wright, their first year, they pop up at 16 years old, 17. Bedard was at 16, but Wright at 17. They are not play at the level they did last year, this last World Junior Championship. And you can see the year after that, when they pop up at the World Championship, there are different players. Definitely is a great point about him. Is a set of young players. I think they could use him maybe if he's available at the pick for the Panthers. One day will be that one over there. Do you feel like he's going to be top 10 or a little bit more between 10 to 15?
It's really, really hard to say. I mean, it's an extremely deep draft, and depending on which teams keep those picks and where they are in their systems, it's hard to call. Um, I would say probably not. Um, with the lack of defensemen in this draft, I don't see anyone going too heavy towards them. But with the forwards that are available, man, I don't know. It is hard to call.
I
But
see.
if he is, I would be very happy with him, or even a Goetze. I think Goetze would be another player that would be an excellent pick around 15 as well.
All right, we have a couple of questions in the chat. I promise them we're going to answer your question, and then it's going to be up and down. So it's going to be like maybe one subject to another subject. I don't have to follow all the questions. So let's navigate. First one we have here from Steve G said to you, how do you feel about Jake Allen? He's either answered or do the add process another goalie. I will add one more. Do you feel they're going to trade him or not? Maybe not trade deadlines or off summer. What do you feel about the situation of the goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, I think Jake Allen's going to remain the team as long as they don't have that answer or trade for another goaltender. You know, that goalie of the future that we all know that Hughes is looking for. So I don't see him being traded at the deadline. I know Montembeault has been playing extremely well. He's been playing above expectations, but the Canadiens do need that tandem to remain competitive, and that is their goal. They want these young guys playing in competitive games. So I don't see him traded. I don't see him staying the deadline next season. By then, I think he'll be gone.
Okay, great point. I like that one over there. Luciano asked this question you, but I will modify the question he asked you about this. He talked about the fact like Saint Louis has a great supporting cast, but I'm not a fan of Alex Burrows. But I would change this question. I think he's great when he said that. But do you feel like Martin Saint Louis need help? An advisor, another assistant coach with him, a little bit of someone have more experience. I don't want, name. I can, people talk about Pop Ugly, Matt Crawford, blah, blah. But I'm talking about, do you think it would be good for the Montreal to add one more or not behind the bench, or maybe just an advisor around Martin St. Louis?
Well, everyone talks about players, young players needing that veteran help. And when you look at the Canadiens coaching staff, they're all young coaches. They don't have a ton of experience. Burroughs, St. Louis, they haven't been coaching professionally for very long, and they're all coaching together. So I would be quite happy if the Canadiens were to go out and find themselves a veteran coach to help out, someone who could, as you mentioned, be an advisor, maybe help with the systems, the power play and the penalty kill, kind of work with them on that side and help out a little bit, take a little bit off his plate so he can focus more on the individual player coaching. St. Louis is showing that he is really, really good at it. When he takes these players aside, it only takes one or two practices and they pick up whatever he's putting down. For instance, Cole Caulfield, he showed him a couple of little moves, um, and he used them in the power plays, and they worked. So that's something I'd like to see more of. So if I had an advisor, I think that could open him up to that.
Great. Ron, we can ask you about this question. Do you think Bedard would be an hand like Crosby was when he came into the league? I would say to you, are you a little bit worried with the size of Connor Bedard too? Like McDavid and those guys, it was maybe tall compared to Bedard. So what do you think about that question?
I am concerned a little bit about that. It's not as much now as it was even 5 years ago. So yeah, there's some concern there, but I think players they know what side their bread's buttered on. They know that guys like Crosby and Bedard and all these other young stars that are coming up, you don't want to really hurt them. You don't want to punish them, but you want to take them out of the game because that's how the league makes money. And the more money the league makes, the more money they make. So yeah, I'm a little concerned, but the Canadiens have some answers to that. Jack Guy is there now. That's someone who could step up. There's a little bit of team toughness there. I know you mentioned Pizzetta earlier in the show. I don't think he'll be around much longer, to be
Okay.
honest. But if they can build up that team toughness, they could back him up if they need it.
All right. And I'll ask you this question. Maybe change this bit. Who do you see as a surprise player to look out for in the NHL draft outside the, obviously, the 1 to 5? So we talk about some players, Sally, Devosky, Smith, but you have another specific player, like you said, this player maybe see him at 15, 20 or 12, 20, maybe now is getting more interest to follow, and maybe there'll be a surprise on the draft top 10 example.
Someone like a Nate Danielson, I think would be he's hovering around 20 right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the top 10. Braden Yeager from Moose Jaw, that's another guy that I think could have his draft stock rise. If he has a solid playoff in the Western Hockey League, he could probably break the top 5. It's again, it's hard to say. The lists aren't complete yet. I won't list done until probably the second week of June, so the week before the draft. So it's very fluid, but those are two names that I would keep an eye on because they can surprise, and I would not be surprised if the Canadiens make a move to maybe go get them.
All right. Talking about David Savard, do you think they should trade him or not?
I don't think so. The team does need a veteran presence. They do need a little bit of help there. Savard, he's being overused at this point. They got him on a first pairing. He is not a first pairing defenseman, and he looks out of place because of it. If he's used properly in a third pairing role, playing in power penalty kill, I think that would be perfect. He would provide some veteran leadership, and not for nothing, he is a local who wanted to go to Montreal. He brought his family back there. He wants to be in Montreal. You can't say enough good things about having a culture around a team of players that want to be there, who tell others how much they love it in that area. So he would be an ambassador for the team amongst the players. So I would hold on to him and let him play there. He's from there. He wants to be there. Use that when you're recruiting players.
Do you agree with me? Maybe I see him like an assistant coach in the NHL or someone who's going to work in hockey after his career will be over.
Yeah, no, honestly, he's got that coach vibe. He's very, very smart. He is soft spoken, but when he wants to say something, it comes across, and there's no mistaking whatsoever what he wants to tell you.
We have a question for Willie Snyder. He asked you about what you thought on the play of Montembeault so far this season. We talked earlier about surprise players at Jacky. How do you feel about Montembeault? For me, it's a really surprise. We did not expect Montembeault who he is today. From what we saw him, I saw him many times at the Panthers when I was there, and now I see him last season with Montreal. But this season, he's completely another goaltender.
Yeah, no, before the season started, I didn't expect very much out of him. I felt that maybe an 890 or 895 save percentage is all we were going to get out of him. And this season, he has shown a progression. His numbers have improved, especially lately. But I see him moving a little bit better. He's healthy this year, so that's really helped him. And he's more competitive. He's fighting for his space within his crease and on the ice, and that's making a huge difference when it comes to him scoring up to shots. So he's playing above expectations, but I
Yeah.
think there's more to his game. I think he still has room to grow. Uh, Goaltending years, he's still young. He's only 26. So I'd say he's got a couple more years before he hits his prime.
Yeah, the key is to see if he can be consistency like that for the year, right? He can become a backup number two. Who knows after that? Following by this question about the goaltender, what are you looking for Montreal Canadiens for the goaltending situation on the future? Some people can go on three different ways: make a trade, a UFA, or the draft one, like we know this season and this year have a lot of goaltender the end of the first round, second round, and the third round. What do we be, or what do you feel the Montreal Canadiens are going to do for the situation for the goaltender?
I'm not expecting much on the UFA front. I think the Canadians are pretty well set with the tandem they have for now. Trade-wise, I can see happening, but I see it more um, slightly younger goaltender, someone who's got a year or two left before he's made it, before he's NHL ready. Draft time, there's 3 or 4 goaltenders in this draft that I think would be excellent choices for the Canadians. Players who will take about 4 or 5 seasons before they're ready, but could become that starter that they really wanted. Now, in the later rounds, they might take a chance on a Tom Suchanek or the Slovakian goaltender. His name's escaping me. Gajan, the Slovakian goaltender. I think those guys they could use a late round pick on, but there's a couple of guys up higher in the draft that they might take a flyer on with a second round pick. So I'm seeing a combination of draft and trade, but for younger players, younger goaltenders who will fit with that core age group that the Canadians have now, 23 and under.
Great point about this. We have a few more questions. I would put all together and for finalize the show. We talk about the NHL draft. We talk about the development. We talk about coaches. We talk about players. Now, I want to see a bit more finishing with this. We have 2 questions, and then I will resume those questions. The assets. Montreal Canadiens for the last 2 years, I believe they have 49 draft pick or what, 3 years, whatever it is. There's maybe 51, by the way. They have a lot of good players. Talk about Owen Beck, Logan Mario, Lane Hudson, Joshua Roy, and I can go all the way, like all of them. Maybe slightly tell us a bit what you're really looking for them players. Which player are you more excited, or maybe 2 players you're really excited and you look about for the next couple of years are going to become a great asset for the Montreal Canadiens?
I think Joshua Roy is one of the players in that prospect pool that really excite me. He has that professional air to him. He's got that focus for the game. He can read the play well. He plays at an excellent pace. He can play that two-way game. He can play an offensive game. He can give you that forecheck. He can play on the penalty kill. He's a bit of a jack of all trades. I watch him play, and I keep thinking to myself, this is a Lehkonen. It's the next Lehkonen, basically. So he's the one that excites me the most out of that prospect pool. Another player, Lane Hutson. I mean, this kid is something else. He's a boomer bust. Don't get me wrong. He has grown. I've talked to him in person, and he is much taller now than he was at the draft. So when he was drafted, so he's picked up an inch or two, and I don't know if he's growing, but his game is definitely growing. He is just a sublime offensive player. His skating is elusive. He is very deceptive in his movements. I really enjoy watching him play. If he makes it to the NHL, he's going to be an impact player. But if he's boom or bust. He makes it, he's going to be great, or he'll completely miss, and we won't talk about him again.
Yeah. If you compare one player like Lane Hutson, which player came on your mind?
Ooh. Quinn Hughes. Very, very focused on his offensive game. Not quite as good defensively, but something that he's working on. So I would compare the two in style.
For me, it could become a Quinn Hughes, and in itself, I think it would be great if he can be that players. I think you have those kind of players
very impressive
for them for sure. Prospect B, they said that prospect a dark horse, a player we talk about back and Austin. Do you have any specific player like behind? We don't talk a lot. It could become a player from the Montreal Canadiens. I would say Emil Heinemann example. I feel like Beck, Hudson, or maybe Logan Mayu could be one to play like a dark horse where the expectation is there, but not at that high. Vincent Rover, Cédric Guindon, Riley Kidney, William Trudeau. Do you see one? I'm talking the pool B, or we call it, right? I can call it the best way. Do you see one of them? You maybe say, you know what, that player could maybe change and become maybe a player with nobody expect him to become a good hockey player. Could be a third pairing defenseman, could be a bottom six. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So give us a bit what maybe one of them.
Well, I really do like Trudeau. I think he's exceeded my expectations so far this year. I expected him to be returned to the QMJHL, but he's playing Laval at the moment. Another player that I'm expecting big things out of, and that's Jakub Dobish, the goaltender out of Ohio. From last year to this year, if you're just looking at his stats, they look like they've slipped. But in reality, he has a weaker defensive team in front of him, but his numbers are almost the same. He's played every single game for his team. He's got an excellent record. Ohio is now, I think, seventh in the NCAA. And his game, his own game has improved. He's gotten bigger into his net. He's more upright. He is square to the shooter much more often. He's got a better push off. He can move from side to side much quicker. In a couple of years, I can see him being ready to take on NHL games.
Yeah, I really like him a lot. I think he have on all the prospects they have, like Frédéric Tichot, he struggled this year with Frontlanda. He's a backup number 2 over there. Primo, we know already have this. Croteau have a lot of work to do with him. Verbeek is not, he's Verbeek. He's still young. He's only 19, turned 20 now. Big goaltender too. But I think you're absolutely right. Tobes is really one. We finish with this question about this. We talk about all the players we mentioned. I think one name I didn't mention. Maybe you said it earlier, but what your expectation about Sean Farrell? Farrell draft by the Montreal Canadiens 4 round. I think it was 100 or 150 overall pick. I'm always mess up him and Joshua Roy. Played USHL Chicago Steel. Great year over there with Coronado. Now he was at Harvard University. Have a good year last season as a freshman. Have a better year. I think he's a number 2 as a player with a point per game behind Fantilli for the Michigan Power. And we expect him possible to have ELC, a little bit like Jordan Harris. We know he's a 5'9", another Philip Mazar size, Caulfield. But what do you see Sean Farrell? Maybe tell us in NHL. Do you see him to be a good hockey player or not in NHL because his size will auto attract?
Well, his size is going to be a factor. He's going to have to learn how to compete along the boards and compete for his space in front of the net. He's not necessarily someone who crashes. He's more of a he finds those weak spots, those open spaces, and if he can pull that off at the NHL level, it's because he's found ways to play at a faster pace, which I think he's fully capable of. He's shown himself to be equal to professional players already, playing in the Olympics, playing in the World Championships for the United States, and being a top 6 player for that nation in those tournaments. I do
Yeah.
think he's going to sign his DLC this year, and I do see him playing NHL games. Long term, maybe a third line winger with a little bit of a power play upside.
I know some fans were not going to like what I'm going to say. Because many fans don't like Jonathan Drouin. Do you feel like he's a little bit like Jonathan Drouin? Like the vision,
Yeah, I do.
the hands, he great pass. He can shoot puck, by the way. But is it like similar when I'm talking about like a player like that way?
Yeah, I do think he has a lot of the same skill sets that Drouin has, and I think I think his strength is that vision, that offensive vision, and that's something that Drouin has. Now, clearly, Drouin hasn't been able to reach his full potential, and that has caused people to sour on him. But Farrell has that same it factor. He's still able to make plays at a high pace, and he is making very creative moves to generate these passing lanes and shooting lanes to create that offense. So he's not relying on other people. He is creating that offense himself, just like Drouin used to do.
You're absolutely right about this. You know, wow. Already say I would think I will talk with you forever because every time we talk about Montreal Canadiens, my heart and my highlights about them, and I talk about this. I've been there on YouTube channel for 3 years now, full time, and I just love it to do that. What that kind of the chance every time that we have a lot of some people in the young crowd maybe see the video a little bit later every time that. What would be your best advice or anybody? I think you should dream bigger at any age. It's not because you have 30, 40, 50, 60, 65, maybe 70, by the way. The path, or maybe someone would like to be involved with, maybe I cannot write. I'll be bad. I cannot speak English anyway, so it'll be great to write her. But maybe something like some advice you can, or tips, or people would like to be involved with on YouTube channel or a THW site or any other, like Marco D'Amico. I talked to him a couple of times. But what would be like the best for them to learning about those kind of the path to get there or to be more recognized around for me myself too. I feel like this year I'm a year number 3 and I'm right there. I miss something to go the next level. What would be your suggestion? And this for not only for me but everybody else.
Well, passion for the game is really the key for anybody. You can't do this all the time if you don't love the game, and not just a team. I'm talking about the sport itself at all levels. I myself play at a high level of hockey for a beer leaguer. I coach, I scout, I watch as many games as I can at all different levels. So I spend a lot of time at the rink. I spend a lot of time watching the game. I spend a lot of time talking to other people who clearly know more than me in a lot of ways. So I ask questions. I listen to what they have to tell me. Any any little tips, any little tidbits of information, I pocket that. I hold on to that and I build from that. That would be my advice. If you truly love the sport, get involved in any way you want, any way that fits you. If it's writing, do that, and don't be afraid to do it for free. You kind of have to start off doing it for free. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Your writing will improve over time. Your point of view will change clearly as you immerse yourself more into the sport. Don't be afraid to share your point of view, your ideas, but stay humble because you're not always going to be right. I've been wrong so many times. My wife tells me I'm wrong every day. So I'm used to it.
Yeah, absolutely right about this. We not always right about this. It's just for me, it's about like I would see this like a living room, right? We are in the living room all together, and we just
Yeah.
talk about hockey, and everybody have its fun opinions. Like it's with respect and to not to be like over the boundaries. Respect other opinion because you're not always to be right at the end of the day, and the people as a respect and the chat as I think that's the best thing we do here at the Hockey National Show. So really appreciate Blain to your time today with us. Like I said, hopefully this is not going to be a 2 years. And sometimes like I'm shy to ask people because I feel like maybe the channel is not big enough or people are busy to do other things and everything like that. So that's for me like I really very very kind of you. Grateful to have your time with us tonight to sharing a little bit. Like you said, love the game, but obviously love to talk about hockey. So we really appreciate it to be with us. I don't think so we have anybody, but it's just like people want to thank you for your time you give to us, and then hopefully. We're going to see you again the next couple of months and talking about more about the Montreal Canadiens.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you reaching out. Uh, anytime I'm available. Uh, I can make myself available. I love coming on to other people's shows and just talking hockey. So again, thank you very much for having me.
Not a problem, Blaine. We wish you an amazing, great rest of your night. And again, we want to thank for your service to be a part of this for what, like I think 30 years you mentioned about the Navy.
Yeah, uh, 10 years in the Army, 20 years in the Navy, 30 total.
So my next question, my final question, sometimes it's a final answer, but my final question would be, when are you going to be retired?
My wife says I can.
So you tell me she's the boss?
Yeah, yeah, hands down, boss. I don't even pick my own pants.
Because you love the game, you love Montreal, you love to talk about this. When you be retired, like could be next year or 2 years, whatever it is, do you thinking to stay and to do maybe another option of your life where you're going to become more involved with hockey and the YouTube channel or writer or something like that? Is this what something you were looking for, or is not like maybe completely around here?
No, actually, I am working towards building that side. I would like to retire and move into working within hockey full time.
That'd be awesome. By the way, are you based in Halifax?
I am.
All right, sound good. So we have a few people. Rick is from Halifax. He's a big fan of the Hockey National Show. And did you go to the World Junior Championship?
Yeah, I covered the World Juniors for the Hockey Writers. I was at every single game.
Oh wow, that's great to hear that. And then look, I look forward to the next time. I wish you an amazing, great night, Blaine. And I think now I'm not going to be shy. I think I'm going to knock you a message more often.
Please do, even if it's just a chat. I'd be more than happy to get more messages from you.
So, before you leave, people want to join to reach you. Is the best way on Twitter? Like, Blain POTVIN underscore, I believe, THW, right?
Yeah, so that's my Twitter handle, my Instagram handle. You can find me at the Hockey Writers. You can find me on my podcast channels, HABS Unfiltered, on every single social media platform. You can find me pretty much anywhere along there.
Your YouTube channel app, is it like yours or is it a mix of THW?
No, that's my YouTube channel for HABS Unfiltered. We're now partnered with Crier Media, so they simulcast our podcast on their channels as well as our own.
Well, that's awesome to hear that. So people want to join can subscribe again. I'm going to put this on the link of this YouTube channel for sure at the end of this show. So thanks again, Blain. We wish you an amazing, again, great rest of the season for the Montreal Canadiens. We'll definitely talk to you again very soon. And again, look forward to see you the next time, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night, Blain. Look forward to see you next time. It was Blain POTVIN, guys, from Halifax. Great guest we got tonight. I will just try to turn off everything here before we move on to the next thing. I'm going to talk a little bit longer with you, but not late tonight because I've tried to shut down my graphic here, guys. Stay with me. We have people pop up here. And, you know, the beauty of technology can change everything here very quickly and then come back like nobody was around me tonight. There we go. See, that's pretty cool. Every time that. First of all, we want to thank everybody in the chat. And I know it's up and down. We have a guest. I tried to go with a subject before the show start. I talked with him before that, and we tried to give you all the questions you ask. I cannot go one by one. I tried to mix 2-3 questions. I know in our top ask a 3-4 question, and then we talked about this earlier, so I skipped the question. So I just want to be sure you're understanding about this. But again, it's fun to have those kind of people like Blain POTVIN to be with us. I'm talking about Marco D'Amico. I need to get Marco D'Amico with us, so that'd be great to get him from the it's Montreal MHN. It's a Montreal Hockey now. It's on a great, and Marco been with us twice, and then maybe Sportology will be another one we had to get with us. We got the Karen Haynes on the weekend, and they have people right every time, every week, every day, and they are bring on this. We have a few people in the house. We have Larry Lavalle from Arizona, Rick Bengal. Thanks so much, my friend. Real deal. He's in the house, and we have Luciano who been with us a little bit earlier. Anybody have anything you want to add? Any question want to talk about this? We are open about this. A couple more minutes before. And the NHL only 2 games tonight. We have Daniel Quenzer. Oh!
Super chat.
We have a super chat tonight. Super chat, reverse chop. Super chat, Mr. Rick Bengal. Thanks so much for your super chat tonight. Really appreciate about this one over there. It's a little bit strange, right? The NHL play right now, but the Montreal does not play. It's a little bit like, what do you want to talk about this? The next subject. We'll be back tomorrow night, guys, at 9 o'clock p.m. We're going to do a regular, normal show about the Montreal Canadiens. There are 7 games in NHL warm-up show at 6 o'clock p.m. Don't forget, with Marco Larrabee, we are back Sunday, regular time, before the game Montreal play, by the way. And then tonight, right now, at 6 minutes to go remaining on the second period, the Rangers 3. And the Canucks Vancouver 1. And again, Lafreniere scored a back-to-back goal. The last 2 games scored a second goal. Is 8th of the year. But what about Shedil? Shedil has 19 goals this season. And again, with young player, the Rangers are a really interesting team to see what it's going to look like on the playoff. Can they add more players on the trade deadline? It's another Rangers, I think, again, could have create some damage. Would add Patrick Kane example, at Tarasenko, at Timo Meier, over there. I think the Rangers could have a better long run about this. Real Deal is in the house. Real talk about the Buffalo Sabres a little bit earlier tonight. I think Buffalo Sabres have to take some kind of decision. What are you going to do? How are they going to play at the trade line, get some players for them? Are they going to go deep or not? Are they going to say, you know what, we're not ready yet, maybe not to do too much damage about the future, and so, you know, we're going to be very conservative, but nothing wrong to bring players right now with no contract next season for maybe a second or third round pick. So it'll be something to follow with Kevin Adams for definitely for them. We thanks again, Rick Benko, for your super chat. Willie Snyder, we have a John Diller for the Vancouver, for the Colorado Avalanche. We have CG knocked the door. All three for the big Colorado Avalanche. Do you think Avalanche deserved to lose last night when they play 15 minutes of the hockey? Great question. First of all, when you lead by 1-0, you need a second goalie insurance. I think they could bury that game earlier. The miss of finishing of the opportunities at the first period. We have to give credit for Casey DeSmith to keep the Pittsburgh Penguins in the game all the time, and they don't give the second goal for them, and that's give a chance for Pittsburgh. It took, of course, you can blame Franco for the first again Malkin, but again, the Colorado could win that game. They have a power play on the overtime, 4-3. They didn't capitalize on that game. They have 0-3 or 0-4 power play, and again, they got 1 point. That's a positive thing, but they could. The best team or the team that's a very successful, they know how finishing on the opponent team. And last night did not do it. That's okay. They're going to learn about this, but you can see they need help. They have a good team, but not a great team like last season. They need to Landagard coming back. They need, after that, Manson coming back. And then after they need to add someone. Who knows who they can add with what they can give back. And that without this, the team cannot win the way they did like last season. And you can see this last night. After you get the Nikushin, you get the first line, right? Rantanen, McKinnon, Likonen, and then Nikushin. I talk about this. And you cannot win as a second center comfort. I really like, by the way, for Colorado Avalanche, a new hook. You can see the development of New Hook. His speed is there, but you can see more confidence, more involved. And first checking was good yesterday. I really like New Hook. It's really, for me, a bubble players. And the Vancouver Canucks cut the lead from 3-2 at this moment. By the way, I would 3-4-4. Chesterkin was not ready on that one. Gary Cournoyer said there is a Edmondson derby going on. You're absolutely right. Why? Why, Coach? Because many teams are right now in the playoff are looking for a left defenseman. And what Edmondson brings not only is physicality, not only he play as a second pairing defenseman, but what he brings, plus he have a contract at $3.5 million. So think about this. Usually a second pairing defenseman, you pay $4, $5, $6 million. Now you can get an Edmondson at $3.5 million, not only for the playoff this year, but you can have him for the following year on the playoff next season. Oh, the team don't make the playoff, no problem. We can trade back Edmondson next season, and you can get what you spend on the Edmondson to get back what you give to the Montreal Canadiens. So Edmondson become really a good trade bait for the next couple of weeks behind Kavrikov for the Check run 3 left defenseman, and maybe McCabe, you can add that part. So it'd be interesting. We can get him, and Edmonton Oilers, the Los Angeles Kings, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Boston Bruins. I just mentioned 5 teams right there, 5 or 6 teams right away there. So Edmondson, and for Ken Hughes, if Edmondson could be back now and they be ready, Montreal could get something good in return. What could you get? By first round pick, maybe a A1 prospect, a Bourgault example, maybe not the first round pick. And Montreal said we cannot give the first round pick, but Montreal can ask Bourgault in return. They can get Borgio Javi plus another players with that. So Edmondson, if he's healthy, That's the one Montreal can get something good in return, like possibly Sean Monahan. Exponential defenseman for Buffalo for real deal. Cousins, 7-year deal. Sabre have luck. Or those top center, I don't know for years to come. Where they again said that, yeah, absolutely about this real deal. And then if you think about that, they got two players, top center, the punch or the duo, back and back, and both of them, they don't make $8 million. And you know Thompson have 68 points. It just give you an idea. He's going to be a regular 40 goal at $8 million less. And you have Cousin can get you 60 points per season at less $8 million. Buffalo guy, you can blame Kevin Adams for the beginning when he was with them. But now, for the last 12 months, 15 months, Adam does an amazing, great job with Granado, with that team, the Buffalo Sabres. I'm making a video right now about the next couple of days about the Atlantic Division. This is a mess in the Atlantic Division. A mess like this is hard to win in that division. If you think about this, guys, and I work on it right now. It's right here on my pad here on my notebook. You think about this. Montreal Canadiens are the bottom in NHL. They're going to draft 2 solid picks right there. They are in the next 3 years to become a better team. They have number 11 team NHL draft prospect right there on the ranking of 32, 11. But here's the problem for them. Buffalo is number 7. The Ottawa is number 8. Detroit is right with the Montreal Canadiens. I think they are number 12. So whatever they're getting better, the team in front of them, they are getting better. Imagine that. And Toronto don't go nowhere. Tampa Bay don't go nowhere. And the Boston don't go nowhere. And the Florida Panthers don't go nowhere. So imagine this in the next 3-4 years. That division again, Montreal not going to say, oh, they'll be fine. Buffalo will be better. Detroit will be better. And Ottawa is going to be better. It's a really tough division. It reminds us, the baseball, the East Division and the baseball, and with the Yankees, the Red Sox, Boston Red Sox, to really dominate team and that division. That's happening with Atlantic. Every year, you're never going to say, oh, they're going to be easy for that team, because the prospect of every team are getting better and better. And that's the only way Montreal have to select low this year. And you know what? And 2024, they have to go this way. The Cerebrellini, the El Sandman, they have the Montreal to go back again, maybe a top 8 next year, 2024, to get that an extra players. And it is what it is. But Atlantic season, guys, is going to be really complicated about this one over there. For sure, 3-2 Rangers, RJ, thanks so much. Rick, I hope Rod was going to be his winner. Rick Bengal, does Marsden come back for the playoff? No. For what we heard, it looked like Boston could be completely out of the NHL in the future. That's a really sad news. For what Mitch Marner talked about Marsden, not looking good for him to come back in NHL anyway. Now, Power and Dallin, I love Buffalo. You talk about a punch center, Thompson Cousin. You talk about a backhand for there. I feel for me, if I were the Buffalo Sabres, I would really pay attention to 2 things here. Can Jacob Chikron can put that team better a long term for the next 3 years? Do you think Buffalo can give a Peterka, a Jack Quinn, a Peter Krebs to the Arizona Coyotes to get Chikron with a first-round pick? I don't say they have to, but if you think about what Buffalo could add, I really believe he could become that team over there. To add more power, I think they need physicality. We don't talk about Rasmussen as the defenseman over there. Well, that's another great defenseman. Their defense getting better. The key for them is going to be a goaltender and to add another power and fund the top 6 over there. That would be, and they have money. Buffalo guy, the future is bright over there. They pull the right card for the future for them. I think that would be the right things to do. William said, because at 14 minutes, that's exactly about this. William, we agree about this. The South take the lead 1-0. RG confirm. And it's a goal of Jimmy Benn, 20 of the season. Jimmy Benn, we talk about here, just get the 1,000 game last game, by the way, about this. New Jersey is doing a great job seeing on the future right now to me. William, yeah, so right. The New Jersey Devils are a little bit what the Ottawa did the last couple of years and the Detroit Red Wings did a couple of years ago. And the Buffalo Sabres. All three teams select top 5, top 6, back-to-back game a year. The New Jersey Devils got 5 first-round pick and 2 years back-to-back. They got Jack Hughes, they got Mehmet Dulin, they got Alexander Olds, they got Simon Nemec, and that they build that future over there. Nico Shire, and I can go all the way like that about that team, right? And you're absolutely right about this, William. The New Jersey are right now, how they can splash right there. Like the Buffalo, they have the element. If I was Buffalo, I'm targeting Chikron. If I'm New Jersey, I'm targeting Meyer. Timo Meyer, really friends close with Nico Shire. Imagine Meyer and with the New Jersey Devils. That's going to be really good team to add him over there. And they have element to give back. They have goaltender, they have picks, and they have prospect. All three. What you can give for them. But you can give maybe a first-round pick. They're going to select one out at the bottom anyway. And then you can give them Alexander Olds. And maybe give them the rise of Gib Siuk, I believe, is a Russian player right now playing the KHL. They can give maybe Chase Stillman. New Jersey, if they want to go next level, that's what I will look about them. I love to talk that way, by the way. I love it. Atlantic would be one of the toughest decisions and all innovation very soon. Every game count from the beginning of the season. You're absolutely right, Luciano. We talk about the same language right now. You're absolutely right. New Jersey is the team to watch over the next 5+ years. Great senior late at the team makeup and shipping very well. You know, when you sit about this guy and you know, I do a lot of exercise. So I took the lineup of Colorado versus Tampa Bay Lightnings. Look how they build their team. Not only draft, but that trade at the trade deadline or trades on off summer. And they get some UFA. That's exactly what New Jersey need to do. Now, they build the niche or the draft solidly. We just talked about them a couple of minutes ago, right? Now, they trade for Rand Graves. They got the UFA Doug Hamilton. What they got, Palat. Now, they get maybe another trade. I think they need more physicality. A guy like Josh Anderson could be a really good asset for them. Better to get an Anderson at $5 million and to add another player at $5 million. I don't have no name in my head right now. Or is it better to get Anderson? Imagine they get Timo Meyer and Josh Anderson. I know it's $15 million. I understand that. But maybe they give away Thomas Tatar. You know Tatar is going to disappear when the second season start in April. That game open up $4 million right away. Tatar, I think, it become UFA next season. Are you sure, Coach? No. Are you pretty sure? Yes. Let's see. I think he signed a contract at $4 million with the New Jersey Devils last year. I cannot remember everything, guys. I'm old man, and a man does not remember everything. Tatar, $4.5 million. He become UFA. I was right about him. They have Miles Woods at $3.2 million. They can give away Eric Ola at 2.3. What you do, you keep to San Jose, that mentioned the name, he gave back Eric Ola, them, and because Timo Meyer get there. And that would be something where they can give Tatar at 32 years old, guys. You'll be 33. You get Anderson. So they have two players right there they can manage, they can trade for one the player they can get. And I think it's something we have to pay. They have to Devils. Is it the year this year? The Stars just score, by the way, 2-0. Is it the year New Jersey say, you know what, we need to go now. We have to get, not like Florida yet, but maybe to get more, to go deeper a little bit more. That would be my suggestion about the New Jersey Devils, William. Pride Power, Stanley Cup, go HABS. Thanks so much, Larry, for that one over there. RJ, $20. London Knights, 5. The Kitchener Rangers, 4. Mezal, 2 goals. Mayu, 2 assists tonight on that game over there. Glad to hear that. Mezal is really... I don't lose, really Kidney and Mezal for me. Kidney struggled for the last, I know he does well with catch snow, but he was really disappointed at the training camp last season, at the rookie camp, and at the development camp, really Kidney. Looking great right now for the last month. Philippe Mezal had those kind of roller coasters season. He did well when he showed up at the OHL. Very well. Then he disappeared with an injury. Then he prepared for the World Junior Championship, have an amazing, great World Junior Championship. He come back like Beck. They didn't do well at the first 5, 7, 8 game or 10 game. Now Mezal for the last 2 weeks is getting better and better. Again, would be interesting to see Mezal until the end of the year. Mezal not going to make the Memorial Cup. The Kitchener Rangers are not great as a team to make a big splash. But the London Knight with Mayu continues to produce. It's really interesting case for Logan Mayu. I can't wait to see him, how he's going to develop next season. What you should do with him, go back in the OHL. Go get your 20 years. Become a monster like Jacky did last year. Take that team and carry on that team all the way. If it's not London because they're going to lose players, maybe go get trade to other teams to go. I think Logan Mayu can do exactly what Jacky did last year with the Hamilton Bulldogs when he got trade. I think it will be a really good, important piece of any team OHL and 23-24 to reach the Memorial Cup. I think he could become that plus Logan Mayu. I don't think so. He should be the next one of the on Friday. Miss my favorite player pray for run. Talk about excited for Brownies about this one. Yeah, absolutely about this run. Thanks so much sharing with us. Any comment you want to talk about this? The show will be a little bit earlier tonight. No Frenchy quiz, honestly. And hopefully you enjoy it. If you have anybody who would like to invite more, or if you like those kind of the invitation like that, let us know. We did earlier tonight, 8 p.m. because BLAIN leave and Marissim and Halifax with beside Rick Bengal, and it's 1 hour later, so I don't want to push them. I'm targeting Marco D'Amico and all. If you any other things, we are right now on the. I share everything with you. I have nothing to hide there. It's not an easy year for me for the channel. I thought it's going to be really year number 3 where everything will be better about everything. The revenues, the subscriber, the number of the viewers. And I thought we were going to get the next level. And obviously did not reach that level. So what is the end? I don't know what happened after that. But, everybody get their moment. We heard yesterday HABS tonight. I think HABS tonight with Del Weiss are shut down their channel now because one of them is leaving, and then they shut down the channel. I don't say when I'm shut down the channel. That's what I said. But you cannot be like this for 6-7 years and we are nowhere. So we are right now on the. We're in the middle where, okay, what we do next? What's next? How we can, we cannot survive with 25 people, 30 people. It's not you in the chat. It's not you. You do an amazing, great job, and you pop up every night. I'm so grateful and thankful. But why you talk to us like this? Because I'm an open heart. I'm open book. I don't have nothing to hide because that's who I am. And for the good or for the bad, at the end of the day. And I don't ask my name. It's not what I'm talking about. But I want to let you know we have to take some kind of decision the next 6, 7 months, see what happens for the next thing to do, how we can develop that channel better. And, we try to figure out what is wrong and what is not right, what is not working, and what is good and what is great. And that's what we have right now. And we're going to figure out this for the next couple of weeks, a month, where we're going to become. But again, it's fun to talk about hockey. I love what I'm doing, and I love where I am. But would be interesting what would be the next thing to do. What I would feel in life is that you have to go with your passion or your heart, and if something make me do something else, no, would be interesting. But that's what we at right now, and we'll go from there. We have 9:51. We're about 5, 6 moments. I agree with Logan Mayo. I'm a big believer and show ready development. You're absolutely right, Rick, about him. Again, I was waiting for him to go the next level. He did not do it last season with injuries, but this year it's a new Logan Mayo. I think he's getting better and better on every facet of his life as a human being and as a hockey player. He go through some adversity, big adversity, and really bad, right? But he took that opportunity to turn around him. And nothing wrong to give a second chance. Nothing wrong to forgive someone. And now he took it very seriously. He have an amazing, great interview on TVA Sport a couple of days ago with Anthony Martineau. You have a chance to watching this, that'll be great. But again, I believe we talk a lot about Lane Hudson, Owen Beck. Someone asked this question in the chat earlier. The dark horse, the player behind everyone, could become that player. Whether Montreal, I think it's William. It's Logan Mayo, draft 31 overall pick by the Montreal Canadiens under Marc Bergevin as a general manager at Trevor Timmins, the director scout for the Montreal Canadiens. So I agree with you, Rick, about this. Hopefully, he's going to reach the next level with the next year. Evan can get back to what he was before his injury. It would have a big effect on his play now. He made already an effect, Evan Kane. I think the Edmonton Oilers missed 2 pieces of the puzzle to final. I believe they're going to go to the final on the final top 4 at the end of the year. I think they have everything. They just need to add one piece of the defenseman and to add another forward, top 9. Campbell can carry on them. Look, we always see this in the NHL. If you can make the big save at the right time, you can go deeper. Can you do this? I don't know, guys. But Edmonton looking great. They won the last 9 of the 10 game on 8 of the last 9 game. Are a solid team right now. Viva John in the back, cross market channel. Challenging. Want to have better thing would get better for all of us, you coach. Yep, so right. It's a great comment, Larry. When I start this channel, guy, in 2020, I had nobody here, like nobody, with Michael Divino. We hit the January. I started to go streaming. We're increasing 300, 500, 700, 900, 1,000. But we hit this at the playoff against the Tampa Bay Lightnings. So when the Montreal was in the playoff, that channel was carrying on 300 people live streaming during the play-by-play. It was amazing. And the night we have a little bit more people, but that's normal. Again, I'm not complaining, guys. I have an amazing, great life. I have no regrets behind me. I never look behind. I always look forward. And with what we have, and it does not work, it's okay. How I can become better next day, how I can make this better. I don't check many hours I put here. It's not this. And again, I'm not complaining a lot. I love what I do. I just need to figure out something to add more. We are, I always believe on this one, guys. If you're looking for a goal and the hole, right? The goal is there. It's right there in the hole, the gold. And you go dig, you dig, you dig, you go, you get dig again tomorrow, you get dig again. What are you doing right now? You're getting closer. But how close you are, you don't know. Now you do it again, you do it again. Yes, you get closer, but how close you are, you don't know. You have two choices. Can I give up? Or I continue to dig? When you give up, someone going to go back in the same hole is going to get dig one more step, and he found the goal. That's I bring my life that way. That's what I'm looking for. I continue to show up. I continue to make that channel who they are, what it is, and I find a way to work harder, harder, and harder. I still believe that channel could be great. I don't need 300,000 people. I don't need 6,000 per month. It's not what I'm looking for. It's to get the next level, the 25, the 40% more. And that's simple. That's the only thing. And we try to look about this. Your consistency is amazing, Rick. Thanks so much. I'm having a Super Bowl at Tailgate live stream, 12 o'clock Eastern Time, Sunday, and it for links. Awesome. William, we're going to do a Montreal Canadiens again, the Edmonton Oilers. Never gave up on the fight, Larry, you name it. Coach, believe me, looking at YouTube channel, hockey stream, TV analysis, radio analysis, there are no one more knowledgeable truthful than you. I feel lucky to have found you. Well done. Thanks so much, William. And really kind of you. Really appreciate very well what you just said about this. And again, like, BLAIN is great. You bring BLAIN and you know what he's talking about. He knows the draft. He knows the prospect. He knows Montreal Canadiens. And that's what we do here. And Artap, how many times me and Artap, we talk each other, and Marco Larabi, Karen Hans, they go deep. They look about everything. And I think we try to bring continents. We try to bring things you can have no time to looking for. That's what I try to do. So how many podcasts I listen? Minimum 5 per day. How many TV show you watching? Maybe 3 per day. How many game you watch? Every game of them. The highlight, the news. You figure out the website, the data analytics, and that's where you get better. I wish I had 2 people works with me. We are blessed, guys. This channel, we are blessed to have an Artap every day. Pop up here, volunteering. My heart broke every time because I wish I could give him money. But I cannot afford yet. Moderator, the Danny team, the Luciano, the Jose, the Runway Kings. Those people have been with us in the beginning, helping us every day to pop up here, to be sure the channel chat is good. And the people, members, every month they pay $1.99. It's not much, but they still faith on the channel. They still consist to be gave that kind of membership every month. And the people pop up here every night talking about hockey because they believe in the Hockey Nation Live show. It's not me. Without talking about Michael DeVillano and talking about Marco now, additional players, Carrie Haynes and everybody else, Nick Lariviere, I can go all the way, guys. But again, it's a team concept. It's just we need to figure out a little bit more what we can do about this. But thank you so much, William. It's the only channel I participate. You do a great job, Coach. The NHL friend is a Bill Rocky. Thanks so much, RJ. What about RJ? We don't talk about yet, RJ. Been there every night, talking about the game, talking about the score. He pop up. We turn on the switch. It's funny because I always said we have 2 lights right now in front of me. When I turn on those lights, the people turn on their their phone. It's crazy. I'm in Thailand. You are wherever you are around the world. We have those kinds of communication. The key is how I can make this double more people. That's one thing I'm looking for. How we can double this. Where are they? Why they are not here? Those questions I'm looking for to answer at some point. And I begin. Real deal is in the house right there here. Don't ever give up. You have arrived at the right time for this. The future is all in front of you for the abs that you are yourself with the channel. Write me. Thanks so much, William. Very kind of you. Do that. Lashon Kings play better defense with Campbell the net, but don't give that same defense one quick is put in. It's happened sometime a run, and I will give you a little bit more. They really maybe believe about Quinn Hughes got the puck in the face, I believe, or ice sick. I don't know, but they're not looking good for Quinn Hughes right now. They cannot open up the door. There we go. Let's see the replay right there. Yeah, it looked like the puck or something like that. Quinn Hughes got in the face right away. It's happened sometimes. Like I will just give you an example, Ron. One carry player was in the net. They can make mistake. The new carry player stop the puck. Puck was under the goaltender behind him. They were more careful. I did not watch a lot of games like the Kings to see the difference between Quick and Copley and Anderson. I think I would not be surprised that defensemen are a little bit more cautious about this. The Los Kings are not bad team, guys. If they can stop the defensive goal, they gave too many goals. That's the problem they have. They cannot stop puck in the net. And you cannot go, guys, on the player with Phoenix Copley. With all the respect, you cannot. You cannot. Jonathan Quick is not the Jonathan Quick he was before. So how they can do that? But maybe add a Cam Talbot, and I said Cam Talbot, but I think a goaltender experience compared to Copley and the player will be helping them if they make the playoff. But again, they have something, you have to figure out that part of there, the Kings. But great question, Vote Online Academy channel. I guess that the link did not post for the love of the Habs and the hockey. I look forward to this show every day. Ron, thanks so much. Another knowledgeable and entertaining come across such a positive way for the audience. I agree with you, William, about this one over there. I love your passion for the game. Coach, not just app, but that make it fun and welcome. Thanks so much. Ron, Willie, and of course everybody else. We are right now 18 at the beginning of the third period at the Madison Square Garden at 3-2. Again, the Canucks, Vancouver, the Rangers lead, and the Stars are now 3-0. Akapanen score is already fifth goal. That's pretty good for Dallas. Dallas and the team, guys, the Minnesota are going down at that moment. Thanks, Coach, and William McClary for kind of words, Coach. You have to keep the game. It's a slow process, but the work we have to engage by any podcast. Thanks so much. The past is the past. Only look on the future. We are only here for the short time. You're absolutely right, guys. You know, I would say this way. I would bet open it. I try to get my hands inside. There we go. My hands there, my hands there. All right. This is your age today. This is the end of the life right here. Right? And every day, getting closer. It's getting closer. It's getting closer. Getting closer. That's your life. What he has between my both hands, that's your life. How can you maximize that life now? I know we're not young. Many of you are my age, right? But how can you maximize the rest of your day, of your life? What you can do today to make your day best, the best day of your life. How you can do tomorrow the same thing and the following year. And the following year. And then it's over. You don't know how long we'll be here. Larry said a short life, a short time. Life is short. You're absolutely right. So I was just said earlier, no regrets. But that's why I'm in Thailand right now. I maybe not could come here in Thailand the next 10 years later because my health. Who knows? What could happen to me? I always been that way. I moved from Canada to USA. People told me you cannot do it, cannot speak English, you cannot do anything, you're too small, you cannot do that. I always fight that way. And look where I am today. I speak in English right now in the TV. Is it great? No. But I do it. I did speech school, high school, college, about life, about hockey. I did it, but nobody told me I cannot do it. Many things I said, they told me all the time. My own family gave up on me. That's okay. It's just a mindset game. The life is a mindset game. It's just to put this together. And we have other problems, financially, health size, or, financially, health, family. 3 areas of your life, that's how we are. How we can go through that, right? Talk with someone. Don't hesitate. Don't give up. It's all the stuff like that we can sharing. We can help. And you never know. You can go out and get on the street, you get killed. You never know. I don't want this to happen to anybody, but that's what we are. This world is changing. This world is hard. The world just scored, by the way. Eriksson scored on a power play goal at the end of the second period. So that's happening here, guys. The family built there that helped many of us, not only hockey, but in life. Yeah, absolutely. And on top, yeah, we never met each other face to face, right? And for my side, the only one I met it's Michael Devenano, Michael Rosenblatt, Pac Monkey, and I met someone else at the rink, someone. But 99.9 of the people in that subscriber, that channel, I never met them. And that's what we are. So we'll be interested in how it's going to develop. Again, I just want sharing where we are tonight. And we'll be back tomorrow night, guys, at 10 o'clock, 6 o'clock p.m. with Mr. Enartap. And we're going to go back and get a warm-up show. 7 game, I believe, tomorrow night. We're going to get for the NHL tomorrow night. Let's see what we got here. We're going to shut down a little bit earlier tonight because we start earlier at 8 o'clock. No French quiz, obviously, but we'll be back tomorrow night at 9 o'clock p.m. We're going to talk about Montreal Canadiens and NHL. And then, again, people need help. Like Woody, start a channel. If anyone need help, please don't hesitate. Reggie from Vancouver does a channel for the poker. I'm here to help you guys. If you want to talk about live, I'm here to be here for you guys. Don't hesitate to reach me, and that's what I do every single time. So hopefully, guys, you enjoy your show tonight. We want to thank BLAIN POTVIN, guys, for an amazing, great appearance here. Hopefully, he's going to be back, and hopefully we're going to bring more guests like BLAIN, talk about the Montreal Canadiens, talk about NHL, and talk about any other subject we can talk about here at the great channel Hockey Nation Live Show. Until the next time, guys, we want to remind you this. You are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. Yes, you have greatness inside of you. Another one, Nicolas de Gaubibono, been with us for the beginning, Nicolas. Yeah, many of you have been here for many, many times. And we are just grateful, thankful. I realize with YouTube channel, guys, is the will. Is the will. Some people pop up, some leave, some pop up again. It's a will. And that's normal. Only thing we can try to get is increasing the revenue of 30%, increasing the number of subscribers about 20%, and then increasing the number of the viewers per show about double, 50%. That would be better. And if you do that, everything else get better. A YouTube channel push you to get better at the end of the day. So again, until my next time, we want to remind you, be well, be healthy, find a way, not only donate your day, find a way to donate the first half of what? I can see RG said 2023, ladies and gentlemen. Have an amazing, great night. Remember, we love you, people. Have a good night. You're absolutely right. Luc Lafortune, thanks to stop by. Mr. Luc, we miss you tonight. We miss you the last couple of days, Luc. And yes, prayer and thought for the people at Laval. What an amazing bad story, guys. Wow. Thank you, Willie. William. RJ. Merci, mon Luc. On t'aime beaucoup, mon Luc. Have a good night.
Oh,